The NHL has made a major announcement this morning announcing their sports betting partnership with MGM. We'll discuss all the main points of this announcement coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, the NHL had a major announcement this morning that they're getting into the sports betting business. They've launched a partnership here with MGM. Now this partnership is not exclusive, and the NHL likely will enter into other partnerships and agreements with other types of sports betting agencies here in the future. And it also allows NHL teams to kind of do their own thing as well and to have more of a localized partnership with other agencies on top of this as well. So this is expected to help the NHL generate a lot of extra revenue. I did see some references indicating they could generate between $200 to $300 million of extra hockey-related revenue per year. Gary Bettman was asked in the press conference this morning if this money was considered hockey-related revenue, would it impact the salary cap? So Gary Bettman did indicate that yes, this is considered hockey-related revenue, so it will be split 50-50 with the players. And of course, the hockey-related revenue does directly impact the salary cap. So having this extra large stream of revenue for the league and the players will certainly, likely have some impacts here on the NHL salary cap in the coming years. While we don't know all the firm details of the partnership, it is announced that it was a multi-year deal arrangement here with MGM and the NHL. Now this comes off the heels of the MGM also having a similar type of partnership launched earlier this summer here in July with the NBA. And of course all this comes from the Supreme Court rulings back in May. As we know, the NHL at one point had a very different stance on sports betting, was very much against it. But as Gary Bettman said, the world has kind of changed and they're trying to adapt to it. And I do think they see some dollar signs here as well. The NHL is currently working on some different technologies in order to kind of create more of an advanced stats or enhanced stats for these companies where they can sell the data to kind of create as many unique opportunities here as possible. Most of the betting here will be done through mobile apps. That's how most of it's done here currently today. So Gary Bettman was asked if we would see different kiosks or different lounges or whatnot set up across NHL arenas where the gambling currently is legal. And he said he doesn't expect that to happen, doesn't really think it's necessary, as most people use their mobile phones in order to make most of these bets. Now later, after that press conference was complete, I was listening to Hockey Central at noon here and did get a report from Elliotte Friedman getting his thoughts on the announcement and kind of breaking down some of the main points. And he did indicate as well, was part of the advanced stats feature that Gary Bettman was discussing that the league was working on here and hoping to have ready for next year for 2019-2020. Part of that very well might be a player tracking device that might be involved putting right on the player to kind of track a lot of things throughout the game. So as we get more details on that, we'll discuss that here in the future. But apparently the NHLPA is aware of all this and kind of working with the league to kind of help get all this going here for next year. With this being a unique revenue stream for both the league and the players, Elliotte Friedman wasn't aware of any issues that the PA had with any of the tracking devices or things that are being worked on here to kind of increase some of these enhanced stats here for future betting opportunities. Now, another big part of this as well was the NHL injuries and how things are reported. They were asked if that would change because, as we know, the NFL made some changes to its reporting policies here a while back. And Gary Bettman said he doesn't think the NHL really needs to adjust how injuries are reported, and more information doesn't really need to be clear here. But Elliotte Friedman seemed to think that perhaps this might be on a more of a team-by-team basis. For example, with Austin Matthews being injured in the Toronto Maple Leaf Winnipeg Jets game the other night, the Leafs came right out and said shoulder injury instead of the usual upper body. Now, in some cases, when certain injuries are obvious, I personally don't see why teams aren't a little bit more transparent with the information because everybody kind of knows. Anyways, you don't have to get into a full extent. But to say upper body when it's clearly a shoulder or clearly a head or something like that, so there's no necessarily indication from the league that they're going to change how things are reported. Bettman doesn't seem to think that would be required. He said players do play hurt at times. Obviously he said he doesn't want players to play too hurt for their own personal health and everything like that. But there's a lot of things that kind of go into players playing. Sometimes they play injured, whatnot, and he didn't feel the league really needed to adjust how they report that. But Elliotte Friedman seems to think we might see, perhaps a team-by-team different approach in that here as time goes on. We can't help but wonder as well if something like this might actually have an impact too on the next CBA negotiations as well. There has been some kind of whispers that the NHL and the PA have been kind of quietly having a few discussions around that in the background here. Now, both the NHL and the NHLPA have an opportunity to reopen negotiations here next year, or they can wait to the actual expiration here of the agreement. So we'll see how that goes, but obviously having another form of revenue for both the league and the players will certainly make an impact here, and it should all be positive for both moving forward. As always, I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts down below here in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the NHL getting into the sports betting business, and do you think this could have an impact here on the next CBA negotiations? If you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.